Hello everyone, thanks for coming. Today we're going to talk about used game stores. In Japan, obviously, the most famous place to go and buy used games is in Akihabara. Sometimes though, the prices can be a little high and there's a lot of crowds and a lot of competition to fight for the game that you're looking for. So I've decided to go to a shop north of Akihabara in a place that is not a touristy area at all. Let's take a look at this shop. The name of this shop is called Zest. They have games and a whole lot of other things too. It's located in Saitama City in Kitaku. Wow! We couldn't take our cameras in completely because of this room. We were allowed to record, but we could not have anyone's face on camera, and of course I couldn't do a stand-up there. So we're going to have to do it FPS style. Okay, first up, let's take a look at modern games. That's PS4, Xbox One, and Wii U. Let's take a look at the selection we've got there. First, we're looking at PS4. Okay, you can see Uncharted, Last of Us, God Eater. There's a lot of new games there. Of course, PS4 is only about 2 years old. The price selection there, you can see most of them are between 4 and 5,000 yen. There's Farming Simulator. Take a look at Xbox One, not much selection. Just Grand Theft Auto 5 and Star Wars Battlefront was anything I found interesting. Wii U, it's a little bit better. You can get a good deal on Mario Maker, but again, not that many games out as it is. Let's take a look at the handhelds, 3DS and Vita. Take a look at PS Vita first. There's an amazing selection. Almost every game that you could find, and a lot are exclusive to Japan only. A lot of 100+ hours of RPG games or idle games. It's a great selection. Here's a look at the DS stuff. Of course, you know some of the famous ones like Mario, Kirby, and Zelda, they're all there. I saw Blue Dragon for DS also hiding out there. Okay, let's go to semi-modern games. PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii. Some of these are discontinued, some are not. So let's see what we have here. The Xbox 360 selection, I think it's pretty good. There's a lot of Japan-only titles there. There's some Western games too there, you can see. Alone in the Dark, there's Halo over there. So you've got a pretty good mix, Call of Duty. Going to Wii, of course you've got basically just the Nintendo only titles. There were a lot of Wii games, but there just weren't that many in this shop. A couple Sonic games too. Take a look at PS3, a very large selection. Of course, because PS3 is still active. Don't want to take too much time talking about the newer stuff. We're going to get into the older stuff. Here's some semi-retro, so I could say PS2, Dreamcast, N64, PS1, GameCube as well. Let's take a look at what they have. This is the giant PS2 wall. You can see some games sticking out there like Xenosaga Freaks, Berwick Saga, Clock Tower 3. Honestly, there's over 1,000 games here. This is the PS1 selection. Of course, it's a lot older, so there's not as many games circulating out there anymore. But one thing I found interesting, here's a Dragon Quest VII, but when I looked very closely, I realized it's the US version. That's why it's 2,000 yen. GameCube, just like the Wii and the Wii U, a lot of Nintendo-only games, but you can see some pretty good deals there. They're in the 1,000 to 2,000 yen range. N64, there's no end labels, but we do see GoldenEye for 3,000 yen, and there is Ocarina of Time in the box, complete for only 1,000 yen. That's a pretty good deal. Okay, moving on to Dreamcast. The selection is not so great. There weren't as many Dreamcast games as other systems, but you can see a few good titles, including Shenmue 2. And underneath that is the Sega Saturn selection. There's a couple games there as well. And again, there's a look at Shenmue 2, probably the best deal I could find in this store. I wanted to point out Soul Calibur because it's only 200 yen. I paid a lot more for that when it was released. Okay, next we're going to talk about the retro and vintage games. Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Boy, PC Engine. What's retro and what's vintage? I'll let you decide. So here's PC Engine. Best deal is obviously East 3 for only 400 yen. It's very different compared to the US version, right? You see some other games like Far East of Eden. They're always in the used game shop. Valis 4, 2,000 yen, a pretty good deal. I found 2 PCFX games. That's pretty cool. Alright, looking at the Super Famicom selection, the carts that are open, out in the open, not that great of a selection, but some of them that are sealed up in boxes like FC Genjin, Super FC Genjin, Super Mario Kart, Yoshi's Island. You can find some deals there. There's all your Game Boy Advance games. And you can see the prices are pretty low for some of them. Here's the original Game Boy with some Game Boy Color. Of course, you've got all the Pokemon games there. I think you see Donkey Kong Land underneath it. Not bad if you're looking for the original carts, right? And look, we found a sealed Game Boy Tetris for 500 yen. Definitely worth picking up. 500 yen, a pretty good deal. There's all kinds of loose carts under here, as you can see. But there's one thing I found, and there it is. It's a Game Boy Tetris for 500 yen with no box, next to the Game Boy Tetris with a box for 500 yen. I don't know what they were thinking, but they're the same price. I'd go for the box. Okay, Famicom time. Mother, 1800 yen. Not bad. That's an idle game. I've never played that one before. This one is POW. There's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. It looks like someone painted on the cartridge. I think that one's pretty rare in Japan. And lastly, that is Jekyll and Hyde for Famicom. Some good deals here. We found Rockman 4 for 800 yen. There's FC Genjin, the 8-bit version. Tiny Toons for 600. Pretty good game. That is Popeye's English Lesson, 500 yen. And look what we found here. This is Stadium Events for only 1,200 yen. Again, very big discrepancy between US and Japanese prices. Here's Donkey Kong, and there's something I noticed here. Take a look at this. Every sticker has the release date, the system, of course, and the original price when it was released. Every game in this shop has this sticker, and I just think it's quite fascinating. How do they even know what the release dates and prices were for some of these things? Okay, there's a big glass case in the middle of the store, and it's where you've got some really rare stuff. Obviously, they lock it up. I see one Xbox game. I see a Mega Drive too. There were no Mega Drive carts on the wall, but there were a few in the case. We can see Neo Geo games. Some are 2,000 yen and some are 25,000 yen, so I can't understand that. Some Saturn and PlayStation. Here's Super Famicom. Again, Super FC Genjin. Look, we've got Turtles in Time, almost 23,000 yen, and Super Back to the Future as well. There's Famicom Bubble Bobble 2 for 12,000 yen and a few others. There's a Neo Geo system. There's a PS1 Mini. couple AV Famicoms, 9,000 yen. That's a better deal than in Akihabara for sure. I see those for 15, 16,000 yen usually. So you might want to pick it up. Mother 3 for Game Boy Advance. There's the Mega Drive stuff again. Okay, we took a look at the rare stuff in the protective glass case. Now let's take a look at the stuff in the cutout bin. And we can see there's a Game Gear game, there's Derby Stallion, which has some kind of data pack, or maybe that's a Game Boy Advance game that goes in there, or a Game Boy game, I'm not sure. Here's some generic Famicom cards. Here's a Game Boy player for only 2,500 yen. And a Virtual Boy game, Bomberman for 400 yen in the box. I don't know what to say. I think it's a great deal. Definitely pick it up. Here's some hardware. Super Famicom box, 5,000 yen. N64, 3,000 yen. Pretty cheap. There's a PS1. I'm not exactly sure what year that's from. They had a few different revisions, but it is the full-sized one. There's a Sega Saturn, 5,000 yen as well. And a Dreamcast next to that for 3,000 yen. Definitely, if you were away from the tourist area, it's a great place to pick up hardware. There's a Famicom for 4,000. A couple PS1s without the box. There's a couple Super Famicoms down there, Dreamcast as well. Here's some guidebooks. A lot of guidebooks for a lot of different games, especially RPG. This I thought was interesting. A GameCube for 2,000 yen, but it says 2,000 yen off. That makes it free? No. It's just 2,000 yen. That's what they told me. Okay, there's a lot of non-gaming stuff too. Let's take a look at that. First, on the wall going all the way across the store is just pictures of idols. Singing idols, and you can buy their pictures. Some are 100 yen, some are 500 yen. Here's a couple action figures from Final Fantasy 8 and 10, and a couple Gundam figures that you can build as well. More than half the store is figures as well as games, and there's Cars 2, model trains. There's a racetrack that you can test them out on. At this time, though, nobody was using it. And look, guns. They're actually air guns, but they do look pretty scary. And ninja swords. These were quite expensive, and they were locked up in a case, and you have to be 18 and sign a waiver before you can pick one up. There's a couple UFO crane prize machines as well, which had some pretty cool stuff. And all around, it's just a great store to go to. I was the only person in here for a while. I spent 2 to 3 hours just going around looking at stuff. And the selection was amazing. If you want new games, middle-aged games, old games, if you're looking for DVDs, soundtracks, if you're looking for figures, all kinds of stuff is here. So if you come to Japan, of course go to Akihabara, but I recommend taking one day, going off the beaten path,